The first time I was in a domestic violence was I was 18 years old, and I got hit in the face on my left side. It bruised my whole face. I was hit on for a couple hours. It hurt me more than the physical and emotional violence I went through, also, and abuse. I thought that he was the love of my life. I thought that he was the best thing on earth, and then I started getting hit, and it put me through more stress. It made me feel like I was nothing. It made me feel like I wasn't worth nothing either. I wanted to get out of the situation, but I didn't know how.
Did it happen again?
I got beat up a second time, and it was a lot worse than the first time. It was for 24 hours. I got beat with a leather belt all down my back, legs, arms, anywhere that you could see is where I got hit at. It was very torturing. It was like you were being tortured for fun, pretty much. That he got enjoyment out of hurting me and putting me through the pain and putting me through making me feel like I was nothing at all. I was nothing to him anymore. If anything happened to me, it wouldn't bother him. I wasn't there for love anymore. It was more there to be tortured, to be hurt, to be slammed down on the ground all the time, to be slapped across the face and then him laugh about it. I thought I wasn't going to make it out alive. I thought that it was going to be my last time ever being here on this earth. And I had to remember to have faith. I had to remember to have encouragement that maybe I would make it out of this alive. And that maybe I could see my child grow up. And I could see how beautiful she is, and that I never want her to go through this kind of relationship, violence, any sort of that. It was more like I was dirt. It wasn't love. It was, like I said, torture. It was fun and games. It wasn't to have your soulmate there. It wasn't to have someone to care for you, that you care for them. It wasn't to have a future with someone like that. It was more, well, we're going to slap you around and it'll be the end of that. But it was more of having your heart broken into pieces and knowing that how much you meant to someone is just to get beat up on and almost lose your life.
So what happened in that 24 hours?
I got beat up with a leather belt for the 24 hours. He used it like a whip to hit me. I got thrown up against a wall. I got hit in the face. I had whelps on me from the belt on my arms, legs, back. I started bleeding on my legs from getting hit so much with the belt. It was more as to I would have to stand up, I would have to do what he told me to do, or it was going to get worse. He would tell me to take the belt away and hold it, and then he would come back and get it and start striking me again. As the hours passed, I wasn't allowed to have nothing to drink, nothing to eat. I wasn't allowed to go to the restroom. I had to stay in the bedroom. I got called every name in the book that night. I got called dirt, that I wasn't nothing to him, that I was just there to clean house and cook and stuff like that. That it wasn't worth his time to have me around anymore. And instead of just letting me go, he decided to just beat on me for 24 hours with a belt and get pleasure out of it and get excitement out of it, and almost losing my life that night. The belt was very harsh. It wasn't like just an easy slap in the face. It was more like being a slave, pretty much. I was getting beat up like that. And every whelp I had, or every little spot I got hit on, he would double hit it with a hand or a foot or anything that he could use. He tried to smother me that night. Luckily, it didn't happen. Luckily, I'm still here right now. And that he told me I wouldn't make it out alive. He told me he would put me in the attic until I healed up and then I could leave. And it's very hard to go through that for me. It was physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, and then contact abuse also. I felt like I was nothing in this world anymore. I felt like I had no place in this world anymore. That there was no reason for me to be here. That I was ready to die right then because of what I was going through.
What happened to him after this event?
We had to go to a basketball game the next morning. It was 9 o'clock on a Saturday. And I had to walk the child into the church. It was at a church, and he wanted me to take him in. So I took him inside. He stayed in the car, and I couldn't hardly walk. I couldn't hardly breathe. I was so dehydrated for not having no fluids or anything to eat. I couldn't just function. I felt like I was already dead. And went in and sought help. And I was hid in the bathroom upstairs, and it was locked with a deadbolt. And we called the police, and they came there, and as soon as they got there, he was walking into the church to come and get me and drag me back out. And they grabbed him. He was put directly in the police car. The cops came in and talked to me and seen what happened to me. An ambulance had to be called. I had to go to the hospital and seek fluids and make sure I had no blockages in my body from getting beat on with a belt. I had to get about 3 bags of fluids, and they took him directly to jail, of course. And I stayed there, and then I was able to go home, and it took me about a month to recover from all that, to recover from the bruises, the cuts, dehydration, the pain. I couldn't, like I said, the next day I couldn't hardly walk at all. It was very hard to recover from that. The nightmares was awful. It was like I was replaying what had happened to me every night when I went to sleep. So I didn't sleep. I stayed awake so I wouldn't have to dream about that.
Did he go to prison for it? How was he
Yes.
punished?
He got sentenced 5 years for the domestic violence. And they took him straight to prison. And I got an EPO against him. And I still have the EPO. They sentenced him, like I said, for 5 years. He was taken to prison directly. The hardest thing about that was I had to go talk to the judge about what had happened and show him pictures about what had happened to me. And to be able to keep my EPO and to be able to show why I need my EPO. And of course they granted it. But yes, they was not about to let him out. He begged and pleaded to let him out, that he done nothing wrong. That he was just in there because he done a little thing instead of a big thing that almost costed someone their life. He didn't think he needed to be in there. He thought that he should be out walking the streets and beating up on other women, which is not the case. They did not let him out.
How long did he serve?
He served 5 years.
Oh. Is he out now?
Yes, he is out now. The only reason he got out, though, is because the jails were overcrowded. He's out here walking the streets like nothing ever happened. It was all just a nightmare. And then when you wake up, it's all gone. But for me, it's not the case. For me, the case of that is I live with that every day. The trauma, the nightmares every single day. I relive it. It was 1 week from Thanksgiving when it happened.
So this time?
Yes. So I'm reliving it. And it gets harder once the time comes around to add another year of what had happened. I dealt with it better when he was in prison. And now that I know that he's out, it is very much harder to deal with. If I go to a store, I'm scared I'm going to see him. If I take my kids to the doctor, I'm scared I'm going to see him there. If someone calls my phone and it's an unknown number or anything, I'm scared it's going to be him tracking me down or trying to find me or anything of that sort.
How has the long-lasting effects been for you? How do you understand that it was his issue, not yours, and that the things that he said were, I can see your face. How do you feel about the words that he said?
The words that he told me was very heartbreaking for me. It made me feel like I had no reason to be on this planet at all. It made me feel like I should just give up and just let him beat me to death until I lose my life. The effects of all that, I still deal with that. It's very hard, very complicated to be able to wake up in the morning and make yourself feel a lot better. But I don't do that. I don't have a normal morning or day when I get up. I have flashbacks of what happened to me. I have flashbacks of every single thing he said to me, every single mark I had on me. I still have scars. And every time I see those, I think of, wow, I about lost my life that night. But I'm very thankful to God that I'm here to this day to watch my kids grow up. I'm very thankful to God that he was watching over me, because if it wasn't for him, I know I wouldn't be here right now. The recovering part of it is still in effect. I might not have bruises or cuts, but I have scars and I still have wounds. Deep down inside, thinking about it, remembering every year the add-on of what had happened to me, thinking that now here's another year added on, and that I'm still here, but he's out and living a normal life like he should not be, because it was not right. He doesn't have remorse about it, obviously, because he's just living a normal life and doing what he does. Me, I don't live a normal life. I live day to day trying to deal with it. I have anxiety. I have anxiety attacks. Anything that remotely, if I see a TV show about domestic violence, or if I see a movie, or if I go to Walmart and see someone yelling at their soulmate or their other one, it brings back memories of me being treated like crap. Me being treated like I was dirt. Me being yelled at every day saying I couldn't cook, I couldn't clean, I didn't care about him, I didn't do my job, pretty much as a slave is what he called me. It was pretty much the worst day of my life, but I have to deal with it every day now, and it's just like a nightmare. But the anxiety that I have is getting better, it is improving. Some days are worse than others, of course.
So what would you say to women in domestic violence situations right now? What advice would you give to them?
The best thing you can do is get out of it. I know you probably don't feel like you can get out of it. I felt like I couldn't leave. I felt like there is no reason for me to leave. This is where I belonged. In reality, though, it's not. You don't belong in a domestic violence case. to be hit on, to be called everything, to be let your body get ruined, to let your mind set in that you have to be there. You don't have to be there. You don't have to put up with the violence. You don't have to put up with the physical, mental abuse. You need to find courage in yourself. You can look upon others and try to seek help. The police department can help you. They can help you get out. There's shelters that you can go to if you have no one else. There's loved ones that you could possibly have that would take you in and help you get out of the situation that you're in. Don't be afraid like I was and almost lose your life. Have courage in yourself, and if they go to work or anything, try to call the police, have them come to you if you can't get to them, and just tell them the situation, and they will be dealt with, and it will have consequences for them. But you will be able to live your life peacefully, and you will be able to have courage and be a survivor of domestic violence and not give up on yourself, and be able to help other women or men that goes through this, or young women also.
What would you say to your daughters one day to prevent this from ever happening to them?
My daughters, I would definitely tell them that when you meet someone, it's not love at first sight. It's not, don't believe everything they tell you. You can always get on the internet and do background checks and figure out what kind of background that they do have. You can always see how they act towards you. If they act any way of being controlling, telling you shouldn't wear that, or you shouldn't eat that, or you shouldn't go hang out with your friends even, or you shouldn't go to your mom and dad's, you should go with me. No. Family's everything. Don't ever let no one come between you and your family. Family will always be there. Other ones will not. So I would also tell them that it's okay to go out on dates and get to know the person before getting in a relationship with them. And give that about a month or so, or more time, whatever time that you think you need. But it's better to look on the outside than the inside. And you can always ask your friends, siblings, any person that's in your life that means the most to you. Ask them how their outlook on that person is. If you see something that just sets you off and gives you a bad vibe, don't go there. Get out of the situation immediately. Seek help from others also. Just because a boy or a girl comes up to you and says, "Oh, you're pretty, let's go out on a date." Don't just jump for it. Get to know them first by talking on the phone even. Or just hanging out. Don't go by yourself. Stay in a crowded area in case something ever happens. Always have your phone on you. Don't leave it anywhere else. Always have it in your pocket, purse, or anywhere that you need it. Be very skeptical of how their outlook on women or men is. If they show any kind of anger towards simple things like you're wearing mascara, you're wearing makeup, you're wearing a V-cut shirt, don't get out of the situation. Don't stay there, because it's only going to end up in being pushed around, shoved, talked to badly, and it will end up getting worse like my case did.
Are you going to teach your children to, because you're pretty cynical, which you have a right to be.
Yeah.
Are you going to teach them that? Or are you going to teach them that love is grand and love is wonderful and love doesn't hurt and there are good people?
I want them to know what happened to me when they get old enough, when they start dating. I want them to know, like I said, I still have the pictures and stuff like that to show them what happened to me. I was 18 when I found this man. And I thought it was love at first sight. I thought, wow, I can leave my house and go move into another one and have a peaceful life. That's not the case at all. But I don't want them to judge people just to be judging them. I want them to have love in their hearts And to be able to find that someone, but not to jump into it. When you're at a decent age, then you may find it. But when you're 13, 14, 16, just take your time, chill out with people. Don't jump into love and marriage, and because there's much more to all that than what it's called. And a happy ending isn't always a happy ending. I want them to know every little detail I went through, like the abuse, physical, mental, how I felt, how I thought I couldn't get out of it. I want them to know that for their safety, and to know when I first started talking to him, the signs that were put up, but I ignored them. The signs that were there saying how of a person he was, but I ignored those signs, and I continued to stay. Now, if they find a wonderful person, I would be fine with that. But I want them to take their time to find that person. Let that person come to you. Don't chase people. Let them come to you. You'll run into them anywhere. Just have friends. You can have guy friends. You can have girlfriends and hang out. Just don't judge people on purpose. Don't have a judgmental attitude towards people. Everybody's different in their own way. You know, some people are gay, some people are straight. You know, that doesn't matter. That's how you want to be. That's your own person. That's you being you. And everybody's unique in their own way. And to always remember that. Never to judge people because they have different colored shoes or different socks or, you know, anything like that. Friends are always here. You can always have friends. But if you judge, you won't have nobody.
Do you take any responsibility for your time in that relationship? Or do you feel like it's completely his fault?
The responsibility of that I do take is I seen the signs. But I never had nobody go through a domestic violence that was close to me. I never got the outlook like what I can give people now. There was never anybody that would come forward and talk about it. Because being scared and reliving the moment is a scary thing to do. I seen the signs of him being controlling, telling me what to do. And I thought it was okay though. I thought it was okay to be talked to like that. Knowing that I have a loving father that loves my mother. But at the same time, I thought it was okay to be talked to. And it's not. And I should have paid attention to those signs and got out of the situation immediately.
Have you found somebody new?
Yes, I have. I have found the love of my life, and he is truly the person for me. We don't fight. We might have argued 2 times in the past 2 years. And it always ends up in us laughing and having a good time. He doesn't tell me what to wear. He doesn't tell me when I can't cut my hair. He doesn't tell me what I can eat. He doesn't tell me where I can go. Bless me. Sorry. He doesn't tell me if I can drive my car by myself or not. He lets me go out with my parents and my family. He sits at home and watches TV and sleeps. He is very good to me. Treats me like I should be treated. We go out to eat. We have fun. We watch movies at home. I put makeup on. I don't put makeup on. He doesn't care. I get my hair cut or I'll leave it up in a bun. He doesn't care about that. The point is, he loves me for me. He knew what type of person I was when we got together, because I told him straightforward how I was. I was blunt. And that's the best way to be, honestly. So you can kind of get to know the other person a lot better if they're blunt also. He knows about my situation. And he's there for me. He supports me in it. He supports me in everything that I do. He supports my kids that aren't his. He stepped up to be a father to them. We do have a little boy now. And I'm done having babies. But, you know, I have a piece of my girls. And then I have a piece of my boy too. And it's the best feeling to be able to look when I walk in my house and know that it's a comfortable house. It's not going to be yelling, screaming, throwing, hitting in front of my kids. It's going to be just a loving house, and you can tell that there's love there when you walk in.
You're very brave. So thank you for doing this, because I know it's not easy.
No, it's not easy at all. It's very hard to do this. But I want to be able to help people and get the word out to people of how it is to be treated in a domestic violence issue. And that there is help out there. And that there is people that will, you know, if you need clothes or anything, there's people out there that can help you. There's churches. There's shelters. Anything. They can help you. They can help you become a braver person. They can help you have courage. Or you can just talk to other people that go through it if you know that they go through it. You can't just look at a person and say, oh, they got beat up. Because that's not the case. Some people don't even look like they go through anything like that. They look like they have a happy home, a happy life, but that's really not the case. They could go home and have a horrible home and a horrible life and not have nothing to eat, nothing to wear, or have bruises up and down their body too. I'm here to help people. I'm here to be able to give words. I'm here to be able to give guidance of what I went through and be able to help people in the right direction on the right road to get help.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.